Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 86, second segment. And today we are going to talk about some of the things that are the most likely and most unlikely things to be in new home construction in 2020.
And so it's really interesting when this list came up and Jeff and I first started talking about it. Came from new home sales, and so a lot of the elements that are inside of this were a little bit shocking that they were listed, because I always thought that they were just included. And one of the things that you also have to remember is this is a national list, and so it's taking in different geographic areas and different climates, and so there are a lot of different elements that people think are important. And so one of the first ones that I thought was very interesting is that their number one feature was a walk-in master closet. And I just thought that was so interesting. And then you pointed out really interestingly, like, how many of these 50-year-old homes built in the 1950s have you been in that don't have that? And it's true.
Yeah.
You don't get that in the 1950 home.
Right. And as you look at this chart, you can see it kind of breaks down. I don't know, there's probably the top 15 or 20 on here, but they are rated on a scale from 1 to 5. And so these are really, although you see some of those at the bottom, which are, would kind of like make you think, well, why are those not near the top? Well, they really are. These are the ones that are scoring the highest. So as Weston said, the walk-in closet in the master bedroom, low-E windows are super duper important to people. Yep. The not just for the energy efficiency factor of it, but for the cost factor that I guess you get through the energy efficiency.
Yep. And then number 3 was a laundry room, and I think it's really interesting because here in Dallas we see a lot of attention to pay to these laundry rooms now. I don't want to say they're themed, but they really can get close to being themed. And the other thing that we notice is a lot more of the drip dry. Hookup for a secondary fridge or freezer, and then now we're seeing sinks, and even more recently we've seen a place to wash a pet. So it's this evolution of the laundry room. I think we will continue, and it'll become even more and more important.
I would agree. Going back to the energy efficiency, one of the things that they have on the list also is the lighting, and that's for the getting more toward the LED type bulbs. And there's a lot of times we go through houses where we instantly see the incandescent bulbs. They've got the big 5 and 6 inch can bulbs in the house, and those things are so inexpensive to replace right now. You can replace them for $20 a pop, and you get the payback on them through the energy conservation easily within a year.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that I saw in here that I thought was a really great indicator, I like a front porch. And so I think that it's really telling if a developer or builders or even renovators create a really strong front porch that maybe if it's even covered, just creating that element of being able to go into that front yard and meet neighbors. Yeah. And I think that's so important today.
It really
I would think
is.
it's so great. And then the other thing I saw on there was 2-car garage. And to me, that's so important here in Texas because we drive cars. But the other thing, too, is when you renovate, doing a garage conversion and taking it in to catch space. I would say if that is going to be your mission, then you need to hire an architect, and you need to do everything you can to disguise that to make it not look like it is a garage conversion. Because it is the kiss of death. And
to also figure out where the garage is going to go, where
You've
the new
got
garage is going to go. And it doesn't always have to be attached.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's just a matter of where else on the lot are you going to have the space to be able to put a 40 by 45 foot building.
Yep. So what are some of the most unlikely features?
Okay, so most unlikely, and some of these were interesting to me because this is a nationwide builder survey. Some of these won't make a lot of sense to us, like cork flooring on the living room on the main level. Well, that we don't really see much of that here, but they do in the north. Geothermal heat pump, we don't really see many of those here. Solar water heating and electric systems, we don't see a lot of those yet. We do see a lot of the tankless hot water heaters. Dual toilets in the master bath. We've only seen a couple of those over the last 25 years.
I would say this much. Not so much a dual toilet, but a urinal in the master. I think that's the best thing ever. We'll see what other people think about it. Let us know what your thoughts are.
Anyway, continuing on down the list. outdoor kitchen is also kind of low on the list, and it's funny because that is something in our marketplace that people do like. We get painted a little bit in our section of the country that we can't really use our outdoors as often because, when winter is over, summer is here.
Right.
This year we've been so fortunate because, we're like up 9 inches over the average in rain this year, which means we've had a very temperate spring. And I think we'll have a very temperate fall as well, which just extends that time you can actually use those outdoor facilities. And, you and I have talked about this many, many times, how having the additional outdoor living space is such a great value in a piece of property because it's space that you don't get calculated for your taxes on in your square footage.
It's a good thing.
And you still have the enjoyment of it.
And you don't have to heat and cool it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can just do a little bit of ceiling fan or whatever. But it's a huge thing for us. I would say that the majority of new home construction that is built inside of the Dallas area has some form of that, or at least has it covered in the back so that it can be retrofitted to whatever the homeowner's needs are. But it's rarely just cut off, nothing back there.
Yeah, we've been showing houses out in Newman Village and Phillips Creek Ranch in Frisco, and almost every one of those houses that we go to they have incorporated the outdoor space as to be usable somehow, and it might be as minimal as just having a covered front porch, but the other extreme of that is to have the bar built in where you have the swim up bar and you've got the outdoor cooking space and you've got the fireplace and you've got all those things that really
some of the ones that you've been showing up there, those literally have uses almost all year long.
Absolutely.
The way that they're set up.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. We like those a lot. One of the things that I noticed on this list, and I am a firm believer in this, I think that the media room is going to become like less and less important because I feel like people are less likely to dedicate that much space to watching a movie unless it's something that they do on a regular, because so many different generations now consume media in different formats that's not in that theater component.
And I would, like 2 months ago, I would have absolutely 100% agreed with you on that. But I wonder if with what we're dealing with the pandemic right now and the way that studios are having to release things, I wonder if that will have an effect and just let the life of the media room run a little bit longer.
You may be onto something because, again, we've talked about this last week, how people are using their house now, post and during the COVID versus pre. I mean, it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see if this does make it. That's a good point.
I think one of the big things that we will see over the next, probably the next year or two, will be a lot of people that have been, living in townhomes, living in condominiums, living in those smaller inner city, are going to be exploring more opportunities with homes that have backyards, that have direct access to trails and that type of thing. Just so if we were to ever have another episode like this, then they wouldn't be, the shelter in place or all of that wouldn't be as confining as it has been to a lot of people.
I would love to see a developer or a builder. This would be my wish list, to add something like raised flower beds that are on the irrigation system and then composting area, because I think that in the backyard is a really good element. We're all learning so much more about having to homeschool and fresh produce and this whole little journey that I think would be really important for generations to come.
I would agree. So those are, we hope you enjoyed the conversation about that. Certainly jump into the comments below and share with us any things that you would like to see in new home builders, or you think would, have done, have done their time. So.
What have you done to your house that you absolutely think is amazing and more people should do? We'd like to hear about that too.
Absolutely. So great conversation.
Yeah. So your lunch break is almost over. You get to wrap it up and head back. I don't know, if you're working from home, you're just going to turn
back
the next
around.
window. You're whatever.
Thanks for joining us today. We really have enjoyed your time. If there's any second segments you'd like to hear more about, please leave them in the comments below. We'll be happy to address any of those.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.